Good afternoon, students. I hope so. All of you are doing well. So, I welcome you all to your Jataka story class. Today, the date is 3rd of September 2021 and the day is Friday. So, let's get started with today's Jataka story class. Today's topic is The Angry Prince. That is from page number 48. So we will read today page number 48 and 49 and some parts of page number 50 from Jataka stories. So all of you turn to page number 48 and open the story of An Angry Prince. Now let's start with the story. An Angry Prince. Bodhisattva was once born in a very learned family. His parents sent him to the University of Takshashila to study the Vedas and various arts. On his return, he helped his parents in their household duties. He also shared his knowledge with others. So here we come to know that once Bodhisattva, he was born in a very learned and in a very educated family, and for his education, for learning Vedas and other types of arts, he was sent to one of the oldest and the first university that was there in India, which is known as Takshashila University. So after he returned from there, after learning the Vedas and various arts, after returning from there, he helped his parents in their household works, and he also shared his knowledge with the others. The learned young man decided to go to Himalayas after his parents passed away. He meditated for years till he felt that he had grown in wisdom and compassion. At that point in his life, he decided to go back amongst the people and work for their happiness. So when this Bodhisattva's parents, they died, passed away means they died. After that, he decided to go to Himalayas for doing meditation. Okay, for doing yoga. And after doing meditation, there came a point of time when he gained wisdom. Gained wisdom means from gaining different types of experiences, he became wise. And he also had gained compassion. Compassion means the concern for someone else suffering. So he could understand the sufferings of others. So at that point of time, he decided to come back among the people, and he decided to help them, and he decided to help them by spreading happiness, so that he could overcome the sufferings of the other people and could make them happy. After coming down from the Himalayas, he bathed in a river. So he took a bath in a river and dressed like an ascetic. So ascetic means a person who self-disciplines himself. So ascetic is a process of self-disciplining yourself, and when you try to move yourself away from all the worldly comforts and pleasures. So you have to lead a very, very strict and disciplined life. He decided to lead a simple and austere life. Austere here means very strict life without any kinds of comforts. He took a begging bowl in his hand and entered the city. His serene means very calm and composed. His serene face and compassionate eyes impressed whoever saw him. He smiled at all, big and small, rich and poor. So he had attained that level of self-disciplining, and he had attained that level of self-sacrifice, that he was ready to give up everything in life, and he never wanted to enjoy any kind of comforts in life. So all he had was his dress of the ascetic, and he took a begging bowl, and whatever he got from after begging, that was his meal, that served as his meal, and he didn't need anything more in life. And he passed a smile to everyone, whether the person was big or small, whether the person was rich or poor. The ascetic entered a beautiful garden. So once this ascetic, he enters a beautiful garden. He took slow and steady steps. His gait means the way you walk, your style of walking. His gait was dignified. This dignified here means he was very respectable. He walked in a very respectable manner. His gait was dignified like a king. Little did he realize that he was in the king's garden and was spotted by the king from the palace balcony. So the king was able to find him. He was able to see him. Spotted means to find something. So the king could find the ascetic from his balcony, from the palace balcony. The ascetic's personality attracted the king, so he felt very pleased and happy to see at the personality of the ascetic. The king asked his minister, "Do you see that great man in the garden?" So the king asked his minister that, "Can you see that great man in our garden?" The minister had dozed off when the king was watching and admiring the ascetic. Dozed off means he was almost asleep. He woke up with a start, shook his head several times, and hastened to say. So he was almost asleep. So he couldn't pay proper attention to what the king was saying. And when the king called for him, he quickly got up from his sleep, and he hastened means to hurry, and he hurried to say something. "Yes, yes, oh yes, my lord, I would like you to go to him and tell him that I desire to talk to him. Please go and bring him here," ordered the king. So the king ordered the minister to quickly run to the ascetic and get him to the king, because the king wanted to meet the ascetic. "Yes, of course, I will bring him right away," said the minister, and hurried to the garden. The ascetic was about to leave. So he was about to leave the garden. The minister ran after him and shouted as loudly as he could, "Please, please wait." The ascetic heard him and stopped. So the ascetic heard the call of the minister, and he stopped. The minister ran up to him. He took the begging bowl from his hand, but was unable to speak because he was breathless. So what he did? He snatched away the begging bowl from the hand of the ascetic, but he couldn't say anything because he was running very fast. That is why he was running short of breath. He was feeling breathless. The ascetic could not understand what this man wanted from him. He asked, "What is the matter, my dear man? Are you all right? Why are you so breathless?" So the ascetic is confused. So he is asking the minister that, "Are you all right? Why are you so breathless?" The minister folded his hands and begged. He joined his hands and begged, I humbly request you to come to the palace. Our king desires to see you. So he says that our king wants to meet you. That is why I am requesting you to come to the palace and meet our king. I am sorry, sir, replied the ascetic in a gentle and humble voice. I have been living in the Himalayas. I do not go to the palaces of the kings. Please forgive me. So uh, he has self-sacrificed and he is away from all the comforts of life. So he says that no, I have stayed in Himalayas and I cannot go to the palaces of king because I am not allowed to enjoy any comforts of life. So he asks forgiveness and he wants to go away from the garden. Having said this, the ascetic took his bowl from the minister's hand and started walking. The minister ran back to the king and narrated all that had happened. So the minister ran back and he told the king whatever had happened. The king asked him to again go to the ascetic, show utmost respect since he was not an ordinary man, and bring him to the palace. So the king asked the minister to go again and request him humbly and get him to the palace. The minister rushed to the ascetic, who had already gone out of the palace garden. Once again he folded his hands and pleaded, Please come with me. Our king is very eager to meet you. He needs your advice on certain matters. Please come. Now the minister again goes to the ascetic and again requests him to come and meet the king. The ascetic somehow felt that the minister would be in trouble if he did not go with him. So he agreed to meet the king. So now finally the ascetic agrees to go and meet the king. As soon as they reached the palace gates, the king greeted the ascetic. So he welcomed the ascetic. He gave him a seat on the golden throne. So throne is a place where the king sits. The king sat on a lower seat. He fed the ascetic with the best of cuisines specially made for the occasion. So he ordered the cook to make different types of food, tasty food for the ascetic, and he offered it to the ascetic. The ascetic thanked the king for his excellent hospitality and got up to leave. Hospitality means the way he welcomed and the way he was and the way he had treated the king with lots of love and humble attitude. So that is known as hospitality. So if someone comes, any guest come to your house, the warmth that you give and the good care that you take of your guest is known as hospitality. So the king showed lots of hospitality to the ascetic, and after getting the warm welcome, the ascetic now wanted to leave the palace. The king asked, Where do you live, O learned men? I live in the Himalayas, replied the ascetic. Where will you go now? Asked the king. I am looking for a suitable place to spend the monsoon, replied the ascetic. So he is saying that, where do you stay? So the ascetic said that he stays in Himalaya. Now the king is asking the ascetic that where have you decided to go now? So the ascetic said that he is looking for a proper place where he can spend the monsoon season. I would feel highly obliged if you agree to stay in my guest house situated in the garden. The king requested with humility of a disciple. So, disciple is a follower. So, with a humble heart and with a very modest, in a very modest way, he requests the ascetics to stay in the guest house that is in the situated in the garden. The ascetic was touched by the genuine feelings of the king and agreed. Genuine means true. So he was very touched by the true feelings with which the king requested him to stay. The king began to visit the ascetic frequently. So the king now agreed to stay in the guest house which was there in the garden palace, and every now and then the king used to go and visit the ascetic. The closer the king came to the ascetic, the more he was impressed by his noble qualities and wisdom. So, the more and more he started mixing with the ascetic, the more and more he started gaining knowledge, and he became wise after gaining experience by talking to the ascetic. So we are going to end till here. So you can mark till this much. So we are going to do till this much in today's class, and in our next class we are going to do the next part of the chapter. So thank you everyone. Stay happy and stay healthy.